Hey everybody, welcome back to Fashion Mentor TV. It's your girl Brittany Diego, and today I'm back with some hacks to help you maintain a positive relationship with the showrooms that you borrow clothes from, as well as showing you the returns process for showrooms. So as an up-and-coming stylist, I gotta tell you, it's more than just stuffing clothes inside of the garment bag and taking it back. So it's levels to this. It's a whole process. So let's jump right into it. First thing you want to do is to do a quick inspection of any stains and scents. Models are humans too. They sweat, they get makeup on things, it happens. So what you want to do is go through each item on your rack and do a quick inspection. You want to check for any tears or rips because if there is, it's on you. For any stains, anything visible, make sure that no zippers are broken. You want to make sure that hooks and eyes are intact and that they still work. So especially on these white items, you want to look extremely close at every single inch of this because you're most likely to get stains, right? So you want to make sure all buttons are still on. I mean, when you're on set, sometimes you might be in a rush to finish a certain amount of looks and buttons break, things rip, so you want to be very thorough. So that means if you're doing a shoot on a 90-degree day in the summer, most likely the model was sweating, so you don't want to take it back to the showroom like that. You want to make sure that you take it to the dry cleaner at the very least to get that sweaty scent out. Word gets around so quick in this industry, and you do not want to be known as the stylist that brings back stanky clothes. So just go to the dry cleaner and spend the $5 or $10 it takes to get it dry cleaned. Or better yet, invoice your client. It's so easy, but you'll be surprised how many stylists don't take this extra step that can make all the difference. I've been in situations where I didn't do the smell test first, and the showroom that I returned those clothes to emailed me so quick. They were like, are you gonna dry clean this or should we invoice you for the dry cleaners? And I was just like, ugh. I didn't check, and apparently I returned the top that was smelly on the underarms, and the showroom emailed me. They were like, hey, you can either pick this up or we can invoice you $20 to get it dry cleaned. Now, I know a top does not cost $20 to get dry cleaned unless it's like high-end, which it wasn't, but I just took the L because I was not about to drive all the way across town just to pick up one top, find a dry cleaner, then drive it back and do all that back and forth, which was gonna cost me like $20 in gas anyways. So I just took the L, but from then on, I was so adamant about always doing this check, so learn from my mistakes. And I guarantee you will never catch me slipping again, I'll tell you that. So next thing you want to do is check for any small spot stains. So these are stains that you can easily just do a little, something at home and get it out. But if it is a big stain, do not do this at home. Take it to the dry cleaner. I promise it's worth it. Now for minor spot stains, I live by this product. Can you guess what it is in the comments? Okay, no need to pull my arm. It is... one sec, is Shout. And no, this is not sponsored. This is just something I live by. It will get out any stain. So actually, a friend of mine who owns a showroom, she put me on a Shout. And what I love about it is it gets out stains on things you wouldn't even think, like white clothes. I was so amazed that it works as fast as it does, and it actually gets minor stains out in about 2 minutes. You just let it sit there, and it does its thing. It's like magic. That's what really sold me because I'd be scared of white clothes. Like, you just make one minor move, and it's dirty. So Shout is definitely a lifesaver. Shout, if y'all are watching this for some reason, if y'all want to sponsor me, I got my contact info down below. Don't be shy. But again, if it's too strong of a stain to where it's difficult to get it out, or if the garment just smells really tart, then definitely take it to the dry cleaners. They're inexpensive, and the showrooms are gonna love you forever. Remember, as a stylist, showrooms are your best friends, so you always want to stay on their good side, and this is just one of the ways. The next thing you want to do is make sure your receipts are organized if you did a buy and return, and have them in a designated place, so when you're doing this returns process, you already know where everything is. I keep all my receipts in a designated place in a bag, which I just happen to conveniently have over here. And I keep them all in here because I find that if I even keep them in my wallet, I mix them up with my everyday receipts. So I always keep them in a designated place for every job. I keep them in different bags. And just as a backup, because things are always happening, I back them up by taking photos of my receipts and I save them in a Google Drive folder. So if you have a Gmail account, it comes with a Google Drive of 15 gigabytes. So use that to your advantage. Make sure you're creating folders for each separate job so you can easily refer back to everything. Better yet, when you're doing returns for a showroom, they send you a pull sheet, which is the showroom version of a receipt. So most showrooms these days have updated to using digital pull sheets, meaning that they'll email you right away after you come in. But some of them are still, living in the old days, and they give you a paper pull sheet. So in that case, it's also handy to have this, where you can keep pull sheets into. Just remember, you want to separate everything by job. So if you're doing 2 separate shoots in 1 week, do not keep all the receipts and pull sheets in one place. Have 2 separate bags. Y'all like how I did that? I made myself laugh, just go along with it. Anyways, let's get a little more detailed about these pull sheets and receipts. Now I'm going to share with you something that I learned when I was doing wardrobe for TV, which is putting the return date of the items that you returned on the pull sheet or on the receipt. It's good for your own sanity and to overall just stay organized for your personal records. So if you're not familiar with a pull sheet, basically it's a document that Showrooms sends you after your pull, and it tells you all the information you need, such as what items you pulled, the designer's name, their social media tags, which is extremely common these days. It tells you the due date. So it's basically the Showrooms version of a receipt, and I really recommend writing down the date as you go because it really helps you stay on track, especially when you're returning things over the span of a couple days or to multiple showrooms. It's so helpful. Like if you borrowed 5 different black dresses, trust me, when it gets down to it, when you're doing your return, you're going to thank yourself if you were more organized from the get-go, because now you're going to figure out, okay, which showroom did this black dress come from? Which one did this one come from? So just save yourself the headache, trust me. So it's actually pretty simple. What you're going to do is find the item that you're returning on the pull sheet or on the receipt, and you're going to write an R next to it along with the date. That way, if anything comes up and maybe a showroom says that you didn't return it when you know you did, you can say, according to my records, it was returned on this date. Because I have been in situations where the showrooms would email me like, hey, this item wasn't returned, and I actually did return it, but the intern didn't check it in, or for whatever reason, it wasn't checked in. So you want to cover yourself on all bases. And that doesn't happen too often, but in the case that it does, at least you'll be prepared. So this is a great system that you can implement to overall stay organized. And you're going to hear me say this over and over again till you're sick, because organization is the #1 skill that you need to be a successful stylist. Having an eye for style is really last on the list. So now that you've done all of that, it's time to actually bag the clothes so you can take them back. So one thing I do want to note is you want to make sure that you're taking these clothes back on the hangers that you received from the showroom. As believe it or not, some showrooms have it in their contract, which you should be reading before you sign it, that you have to return on their hangers. I mean, think about it. If they have all of the clothes in their showrooms on these black velvet hangers and you bring back their clothes on an IKEA hanger, it's just not a good look. So like I mentioned earlier, I take photos of the receipts, and also if I'm pulling from one of those archaic showrooms that still does paper pull sheets, what I do is as soon as I get back, I take photos of them so I know exactly what hangers they were on. Now if they have the digital pull sheet and they took the photos, then you're good because you have a point of reference to know which hangers go to which showroom. I've even been to some showrooms where they charge you $10 per missing hanger. So it's a serious game out here. So make sure that you bring back their hangers. You want to double and quadruple check that it goes to them. Okay, now we've made it to the end of the row and it's finally time to return. Now this one should go without saying, but unfortunately it does have to be said, which is please return on time. That is key to maintaining positive relationships with these showrooms. And like I always say, showrooms as a stylist are your best friend because, I mean, where else are you going to get designer clothes for your shoots for free? So definitely want to nurture those relationships. The quickest way to get on a showroom's bad side is by constantly returning late. You're not the only stylist that borrows for them. So they want to make sure as many stylists have the opportunity to borrow their clothes because that means more opportunity for their clients to land a placement, which is getting those clothes on a magazine cover, on a red carpet, or getting tagged by someone who's going to blow their designer's brand up. If you just take one thing away from this video, it's this right here. Your reputation and your word goes a long way in this industry. So if you say you're going to return on October 1st, make sure you return on October 1st. Now, this is real life and things happen sometimes, but what you want to do is communicate with the showrooms. Have an open communication. If you're not able to make the original return date, that's okay if it happens once or twice. Don't make it a habit, but if you do find yourself in a situation where you aren't able to make it and you can't have someone go in your place, like an assistant or an intern, you want to make sure that you email them and let them know that you aren't able to make the original return date that you both agreed upon ahead of time. So you want to send them an email and communicate with them and let them know what's going on. You don't want to go ghost. That's the last thing you should do, is just assume, well, I didn't come in, so they must know that I'm not returning that day. That is not the way to do it. Most places will actually be willing to work with you as long as you communicate with them. Just don't go radio silent and run off into the night with your clothes. Alright, so now it's time to take these back where they came from. So I have my garment bag right here. And I'm going to put them back in the So I want to make sure that I handle the longer items with care. Ready to go. So as you can see, all of the hangers are matching. And side note, I just want to note that these types of garment bags are my favorite, the ones that have a handle on the top and the bottom, because what you can do is, instead of struggling holding multiple garment bags on your arm like this, I just grab the bottom. I'm really short, but I'm gonna try to show you the bottom, and then I grab the top, and then I can carry it like this. So it folds up, and I can kind of carry it like a bag. Okay, so I hope you take away something new from today's video. Let me know if you learned something new down in the comments. Give this a thumbs up if you enjoyed watching. The thumbs up helps with the YouTube algorithm and gets this video found by more stylists like yourself. And let me know what other topics you'd like me to do a video on. I'm all ears, or eyes in this case. And I'll see you right back here next week.